have noticed that we are now embarking into a time or era where people show very little mercy, if any mercy at all. And it's really disappointing. There used to be a common grace in business or interaction, to where people they use reason, they're reasonable, they use mercy, they use grace. If something was a color that was off, it's no big deal. If something was fixed, but maybe there was a little bit of problems in getting the parts and it cost more money, they would say, it's not a big deal, I'll pay for that part, or I'll pay for the difference. If you were doing any type of transaction, there was grace, there was mercy. If you were returning an item, there wouldn't be such a scrutiny in returning something. And it's sad to see that greed and shortages and such an imbalance of survival and meeting your daily needs has caused this kind of chain reaction, to where people have tightened up and they have such a little room for mercy. And granted, I mean, there's times where, you have to be hard up, but it's too often than not, there's not enough margin there for offsetting the need that people have today. I've noticed in my daily encounters in the last few weeks that people have just become very, very, or more of a term would be just a lack of mercy, a lack of grace. And when we get to a place like that, that's where people's hearts begin to grow really cold, because you have to be in a position. Well, let me just start with this. If a person claims to be successful, then they should be more graceful. If you're in a position where you have money, or more money than others, or more success financially, you shouldn't be as stingy and tight as somebody who's living check to check, breath to breath. And now you have companies, they don't want to take any losses. You don't want to, there's just all this tightening up, and that's completely antithetical to prosperity, to becoming prosperous, to getting in a place where you have more than enough. When you have to give to get, everything can't be about you winning. If you're the only one that wins and other people don't, then that's not a fair deal. And we've just come to a place where if you go and buy something and for whatever reason you don't like it, or there's a problem, you can't take it back. You go to do business with somebody, but they don't want to honor their price if something changes, or they don't want to help meet you in the middle. If we're living in a place where everybody wants every penny, then we begin to move in a more poverty spirit. There becomes less and less. because there's nobody teaching people the way to give. You know, nobody's teaching people to be the bigger person, you know, to try to at least be a bigger person. It's always something with the way people do things today. And that's not the true American spirit. That's not the prosperous spirit. That's not the successful spirit. I don't think anybody should brag about their Ferrari and their Lamborghinis and their Rolls Royces and they're just as stingy as the stingiest poor person, or they're just as stingy as if they had no real success. You know, when you get to a place where you become financially able and more prosperous, you're supposed to help carry the balance for those who don't. And I just feel like we are now entering into a disposition in time where people, it's almost shameful, some of the behaviors and conduct. Everybody wants to win. Nobody wants to take a loss. Nobody wants to give. And this is a time where people should be stepping up to give. They should be stepping up to offset all the need and neglect and problems that people are facing, and I'm just not seeing it. And it's a real sad time that we're in, where people they're not exercising mercy, and it doesn't have a good ending. It just if this is the way things are going to be, it can't end up with a good ending. This is not the way to be ethical. And humanity, especially Americans, we need to go back to the basics. Somewhere along the line, we've gotten off center, and we're just too far out on the wrong side of the measuring system here. We're getting to a place where rent is too high, interest rates are too high, prices of things are way too high. Nobody wants to really be reasonable, or not many want to be reasonable. Not many want to be flexible and work out a way to where both parties can be at peace. That is not the way that people are going to survive. Reasonableness is how people survive. Flexibility, having understanding, having mercy. Those are the things that are going to help people survive and interact with each other. The selfish mentality of you only winning, you not wanting to take a loss, you not wanting to be reasonable, you not wanting the other person to feel that they got a fair deal. Those are all the attributes of a losing mentality. Those are not the attributes of success. Those are not the attributes of godliness. Those are definitely not the attributes that will win favor to your life, so that you have some lucky days, so that you have some blessed and fortunate days where you could say, dang, you know, I got a break. But how can you expect to get a break when you don't give anybody else a break? You make it hard for everybody, then you want to know why. You don't understand why it's always hard for you. I don't see anybody teaching or sharing information on principles that are healthy. I see everything else other than what's healthy and right. and it's to the point where it's depressing, and it's burdensome to see the way that people have changed, the coldness, the conduct. I mean, it doesn't have to go this direction the way it's going, but people need to wake up, especially those who know better and are better and doing better, to say, we need to change the way that we do things. We need to change the way our company does things. We need to change the way we do business with our customers. If it gets to this place where everybody is not being held accountable, people aren't made aware of what's right and wrong, then we're going to be stuck in a society where everybody's robbing and stealing from each other, taking advantage of each other, not honoring their word, not trying to honor their word, not trying to do anything ethical, not trying to keep a line of communication open to make it a better day. As long as we keep going the way we're going, we're all going to end up very, very hurt, and we might all end up being judged, and that's not going to be good for anybody. I just gotta say something, because it's too much. It's too much going on that's not right and not ethical, and it's just not the right way to live.